Hey everyone, and welcome back to more Stardew Valley. Previously, we learned how to fish thanks to Willy. We got some decent income from it. I told you a little bit about the fishing, and by a little bit I meant a lot. We experienced our first rainfall, and we got to meet even more people in the valley. This time, we're hoping to expand upon that even more. So starting off, of course, just like every other day, we're going to be checking our TV, spirits feel neutral today, the day's in your hands, and living off the land. Welcome to Living Off the Land. We're back again with another tip for y'all. Now listen up. This one's for folks living in Stardew Valley. Check for spring onion southwest of town, where the river meets the ocean. You can sometimes find a whole bunch growing right out the dirt. Must be a very local news channel if he's calling out Stardew Valley specifically, but okay, we may want to check that out sometime soon. Got another piece of mail. Dear Farmer Ryan, I'd like to apologize for joking about your grandpa's old cottage when we first met. It's really a nice little house. However, you might need some more space someday. That's where I can help. Bring me some raw materials and pay a fee. I can expand your house. Continued on next page. The first expansion I offer includes a kitchen. With a kitchen, you'll be able to cook any recipes you've learned. Anyway, hope you're starting to feel at home in Stardew Valley. Your local carpenter, Robin. So yep, Robin is going to be, well, a carpenter, and she's going to help upgrade her house and some other stuff. Also, we got another letter, which is cool. We've got some new items in stock, a deluxe fishing pole, and some bait that you can use to attach to it. You can use bait to make fish bite faster. Hope to see you soon, Willy. Cool. Hi, me sell hats, okay, Pokey? Come to old house, Pokey. Bring coinus. House, okay. And we have more mail, and we're popping off. Advertisement. I keep finding cool stuff. My backpack is full. Does it sound like you? Well, Pierre's got you covered. Stop at Pierre's General Store today and check out our affordable size 24 backpacck. See you soon. Man, even the mail getting advertisements. Ugh. I mean, I guess that's accurate to real life. Whatever. That doesn't make any sense. I shouldn't have said that. Anyway. So yeah, we have a lot of mail coming in. So we learned about some spring onion stuff. We got that weird note talking about selling stuff in a forest and printing coins. But yeah, so with Robin, we can do things like upgrade our house, and as she said, with our first house expansion, we get a kitchen, which is how you can cook recipes, which is some of the thing we're learning about. If you recall, like last time, got to learn about how to make a dish of the sea, but you can see it's not on the crafting recipe. That's because you have to actually cook it at a kitchen, which we don't have, of course, access to. Fortunately, we had to water today. Okay, let me think here. What do I want to bring with me? I could bring... No. I think I actually just want to keep what I have on me. I don't think I want to bring anything else. We are going to probably be fishing again today. I know we're doing a lot of that right now, but that is because specifically right now, early on, I want to make as much money as I can. So that way I can unlock a few things starting out, which, speaking of which, one of the things we'll probably actually unlock today. In terms of with our money, we're actually going to buy something today. And it's not going to be crops. Again, there's a reason I'm not buying crops right now, and I'll mention it once we get our first parsnip harvest, which should be really soon. That's like tomorrow, I think, actually. Forging ahead of you, we're going to keep mining. You should build a furnace, craft a furnace. That was a new quest we got last time. That is not new to today. I just did not check it last time. Nothing new going on in town. Jeez. 7th is Lewis's birthday. Don't anything to worry about right now. Gonna check the trash cans while we're looking around. I may catch or fish in the river just because there is some fish that are exclusive to the river, I believe, in here, and I don't think it needs to be a specific time of day or weather. But of course I want to catch all the fish. Neither of them are really valuable, so I'm really only going to be fishing in here just for like the exclusive fish and nothing else. So we'll sit here and try to catch some stuff while we're waiting for some people to wake up and get things going. Of course, 9 is when Pierre's open. That's where I'm actually going to go buy something today, and that is going to be huge for us. It's one of the things that I recommend buying immediately. It is 2,000 gold. Also, there's one of the new fish, smallmouth bass. I'll check that in a minute, the description of it. But yeah, it's one of the things I recommend buying. The thing I'm about to buy today, it costs 2,000 gold, so it is pretty expensive. This is why I recommend trying to get used to the fishing mechanic and just catching a decent amount of fish. You don't catch a ton of fish for 1,000 gold, but catch a few rare ones, catch a few higher quality ones, and you should hopefully have enough for this pretty close to day 4 or day 5. Again, you do not have to be rushing this by any means, but it's definitely one of the things I recommend you buying, even if you're not trying to rush things, because it's just that immensely useful. Let me grab this chest. I do not think the chest equivalents or gives you a rarity of items based on the fish you catch. I don't think so. It's like the higher difficulty, the higher quality of stuff you get. I don't think that's the case. Anyway, so those are the two fish I was talking about: sunfish, common river fish, and smallmouth bass, freshwater fish that is very sensitive to pollution. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot. Aren't most fish sensitive to pollution? I mean, I'm sure there's some that are more sensitive to pollution than others, but I thought for all of them it was a bad thing. I mean, it is, but okay. Couldn't tell. Kind of tired, but that's besides the point. Anyway, it is 9 now, so most people are going to be up, or at the very least we can enter their home. Speaking of, how are Pam and Penny doing? Okay, Penny's already out, which I guess makes sense. Blah had one too many caramel porters at the saloon last night. Go away. I've never heard of a caramel porter. Interesting. Hello there, Alex. They're starting to warm up. I'm feeling pumped. Okay. Not a big fan of summer myself, but okay, to each their own. I know a lot of people really love summer. I'm just not a fan of the heat. I can't talk right now, young man. My favorite program is on. I did that voice in a really weird way. I can't talk right now, young man. Be baking cookies today. I'd like to make flower shapes in the spring. Maybe I'll tell you my recipe one of these days. Okay. Eventually they're gonna. What the frick was she doing? There's gonna be kind of a point where like dialogue isn't super interesting, but for the most part, I want to just kind of again get immersed into the game. Oh, the thing I've been waiting for, right here. Then we got an ad for backpack upgrade, 24 slots, 2,000 gold. It is fairly expensive, but you got the large pack. Your inventory space is increased to 24. We have another whole row of space, and that is so good. And as you can see right away, the next backpack upgrade is right there. It's this big blue one, and that will in fact unlock our last row. How much is it? 10,000 gold. Okay, that's gonna be a while. But that first backpack upgrade is cheap enough where I recommend getting it really early on. I'm happy to buy any product off of you. I'll give you a fair price, of course. Yeah, I'm sure you will. Yeah, unfortunately, you won't buy our fish, which I should really just sell and get them out of my inventory. But whatever. Okay, we'll keep looking around. That was the main thing I wanted to buy today. That helps so much. Now we have to worry less and less about our inventory problems, which is nice. Now we can actually just hold more stuff. I almost opened the trash can. I don't even know if I opened that one already. This thing gets pretty lively at times. Sometimes we even put a coin in the jukebox. Okay, I like to visit once a week, so to catch up on things anyway. Okay. Sure, Lewis, you're a rowdy bunch, I'm sure. Head back to the ocean. Again, that's just where I like to fish. I find it to be... I actually don't even know what's the most efficient for money. It probably actually is the river or something in the long term, but I just like the ocean because, one, you're close to Willy, so you can always sell stuff if your inventory's getting full. Dang it, all of our items are gone, but that's whatever. Probably because... Actually, that's probably because I saved and quit the game since last time. If you probably just continued playing right away, those items may have stayed there. I'm not entirely sure. Which sucks, because that would have been decent money we could have just gotten right away, but that's fine. But yeah, I like just fishing here because it's close to Willy. You can just sell stuff off immediately, especially when you have less inventory. But also just because I find the rock here with the deeper water you can access after your first level up with fishing if you get a decent enough cast. Just to be nice to be able to get that increased up. Oh, got some new ideas. Just like, we were one fish away. Are you kidding me? Also, iridium, nice. Yeah, level 4. We are cruising. Not really, but... Oh, yeah, look at how much farther our rod goes now. That's what she said. Anyway, that's... Sorry. Look how much further our bobber goes out, I should say. Not our rod. The rod's the wood piece that we're holding, not the string attached to it. Again, don't really have a ton to talk about this time, but I guess I will kind of clarify some things and try to talk about them in a more relaxed way. So I'm not kind of just spewing out 100 things at once. And I guess fishing's a good time to do that. It's not really the most engaging by any means. I like these perfects, though. Hopefully keep that up. And these iridiums. Please do. I was mentioning that fishing's a mechanic that is hard to get used to. I also mentioned last time that you can also reset a day if you want to. What I recommend to you, if you really want to get used to the fishing mechanic in Stardew Valley, even if it's just the fundamentals and you're like, man, but I really don't want to waste my main save on that, start a new save file, and what I recommend doing is immediately sleeping to day 2, coming to Willy, buying the training rod for 25 gold. You start with 500 regardless when you start a Valley playthrough, so you can buy that as long as you didn't spend it like really too much money. Buy the training rod, come over here and fish, just fish the best you can, maybe you can sell the fish, that's fine. Save the next day, and then from there, just fish as much as you want, and then reset the day once your time has run out. Keep doing that until you've at least gotten semi-used to the mechanics. That is the best advice I can give you for getting used to them. Unfortunately, I can't just give you a diagram of like, okay, you want to press the Y button, and here, you know what I mean? It's just that's not how the mechanic works, unfortunately. And so it's hard for me like to sit down and try to explain it in that way. So, if you're someone who's planning on playing the game or playing the game and struggles with fishing and finds it to be an annoying mechanic to work with, I really do recommend having a different save file, or even just on your main save file, buying the training rod and just dedicating one day, you know, after you've saved for like one night of doing stuff. Take the training rod, go fishing somewhere, and just keep fishing, and then once your time's run out, reset the day. That way you don't have to worry about the quality of fish you catch, or the time you spent being wasted in-game, and you can still have learned the real-life experience of actually catching the fish. Or you can just earn the in-game EXP, of course, to make it easier to catch. 4 wood, really. I guess we're using that new inventory to good use with that 4 wood. But yeah, it's one of those things where I think having strategies like that, where you specifically do something like that that's outside of the game in terms of resetting the game, because you're not like cheesing the game in the sense that you're not like really getting anything out of it in terms of you're not getting in-game EXP when you reset the day, you're not getting in-game money when you reset the day, but what you are doing is you're getting real-life experience of how the mechanics work and learning how the gravity of the green bobber works. Again, it's a really weird mechanic to learn. You have to just get used to its mechanics in terms of how its gravity affects it and whatnot. And so it's something that can take time, and it's not something just to be like rushed immediately, because as I said, it's something that I know people to this day struggle with this mechanic, even though the game's been out since 2016 and been playing it since then. And there's some people who adore the mechanic, some people who hate it. And again, I get it. It's the mechanic that is hard to explain and even harder to teach to somebody. It's something that you kind of just have to get a feel for. Kind of like to some degree how driving a car works. Essentially, it's like, okay, well, you can be taught, of course, like the rules of like the speed limit and stuff, right? And you can be taught like, oh, that's the clutch and, you know, that's the brake and whatnot. But when it comes to like the actual feel of driving and feeling how fast you're going for like, instead of having to look at the speedometer every 5 seconds and things like that, that's something you get just from doing the actual act of driving. Weird analogy, I guess, but that's just kind of the closest thing I can put it into. Another thing I want to talk about while I'm doing this when it comes to like mechanics, again, I know it's kind of, maybe it's more of a calming thing, right? It's not all about maybe wasting your time, but also just it's time to relax and learn some things. Another thing when it comes to fishing, I will say, is that fundamentally it's a mechanic you can avoid. You don't have to fish if you don't want to. If you want to do everything, yeah, you have to fish. But you don't really need to fish. For some of like the major stories parts, you kind of do. There are some fish you need for it, as I mentioned. But it's not a mechanic that you have to like get super in-depth knowledge to do so. I definitely recommend doing so because it makes it easier and also just makes the whole gameplay experience more fun to learn, because it's kind of sucky to have to, you know, ignore a whole fundamental part of the game, at least to me. Of course, it's different based on person, but again, that's up to interpretation. But again, I really do think that you should be able to play this game however you want, and you can. But as I said, if you want to complete like all like what I consider the main story stuff, generally you're gonna have to do a little bit of fishing, but it's not something where you're required by any means to catch every fish unless you absolutely want to do everything. That's up to how you want to play the game, and you shouldn't feel pressured to feel like you have to do everything. That's only if you want to. As I said, I think unfortunately a popular misconception with games, even like Stardew Valley, is that you'll see people play it, and you're always kind of not like directly instructed, but even for people like who give tips and stuff, it's like, okay, this is how you need to play the game. Even if it's not phrased like they say that directly, it's kind of interpreted by many people as, okay, then if I'm not playing how this person told me to play because of their tips, then I'm playing the game wrong, or I'm going to miss out on this and that. And I think that that is one of the biggest travesties and biggest downfalls for people trying to get into any game. For example, for me, one of the games I'm trying to get into in my own spare time that I really struggled with is Don't Starve and Don't Starve Together. The problem I've always had with it is that I loved watching, or not loved, but I really liked watching people play the game. That was a loud bird, sorry about that. I've always really enjoyed watching people play the game. But I've always struggled with me myself playing the game. Not because I didn't have fun with it, but because I always was like, okay, it was always just kind of a gameplay loop that I wasn't the most fond of in terms of playing it, and it was something that was like, okay, it's kind of annoying to learn, dying every 5 seconds, and like learning the, like, what was the optimal thing to do was kind of annoying. Anyway, I'm going to pause that for a second, because coming in here, he mentioned he had a new rod, the fiberglass rod, used in water to catch fish. This is the new rod he mentioned. 1,800 gold is expensive, but I actually am going to buy this. We just got enough from selling all of our fish for the day, except for that silver sardine, because I'm saving that for later. Wait, can I? Oh, dang it. I was hoping I could sell the old bamboo rod. Can you throw it away? Oh, you can. Okay, that's nice. I actually didn't know you could do that. Why would you want to keep the old bamboo rod? In case you ever wanted to try using a worse rod, I guess. You really, once you've upgraded your rod, you have no real reason to keep the old one. And you just buy it back for a cheaper price anyway, so it's not that bad. Anyway, the reason you want to buy the fiberglass fishing rod is mostly because you got a little square at the bottom. You can now attach bait to it. As I said, the bait that we've been using, you can't catch the you can't attach to the bamboo rod, but you can attach it to the fiberglass rod, which is really nice. That just increases bite rate. I don't think it increases quality, or anything, but it does make it so that it takes less time to fish, and again, it's just reinvesting in money. Anyway, back to Don't Starve. And you don't have to buy the fiberglass rod. I don't nearly recommend it as much as I do the backpack. I just buy it because, again, I like the fishing mechanic. I'm used to it enough where I am confident I can make my money back on it fairly quickly, and it's one of the ways I know I'm going to be making money early on in the playthrough, so might as well invest back into it just so we're making as much theoretically as we can be. Anyway, back to Don't Starve. For those unfamiliar, it's like just another survival game, kind of like Minecraft to the... Like, that's me putting it in the most layman terms. It is not like Minecraft almost in any way, but it's Minecraft in the sense that it's a game about survival, technically. That's about... It's like, it has almost nothing else in common. I'm just doing that because I know how you say Minecraft and like 20 people at least be like, okay, I've heard the name. Yeah, it's a game about survival or whatever. But it's always one that's challenged me, and I was not the biggest, I'm still not the biggest fan of, like, its combat, for example. I find it kind of clunky, and not, like, in a way that's, like, oh, it's enjoyable to learn and have to, like, get used to, at least for me. Like, kiting the enemy's fun, but it's having to press the button and then be locked into an animation, like, that's really long is just not my thing. Similar reasons why I've never been able to get into games like Dark Souls. Isn't necessarily because of the difficulty, it's just some of the stuff I find frustrating about it's like the animations and stuff taking forever. But I know it's part of the experience for people, it's not my thing. But I've been trying to get into it, just because, again, it's something I always enjoyed watching people play. And so I was like, okay, well, I want to give it a fair shot and not to be like, okay, because the game's definitely not bad, it's just I didn't know if it was for my taste or whatnot, right? So I started trying to play it, and I've definitely gotten more into it, once I started playing how I wanted to play and stopped playing by how, like, because I'd watch people play it and I was like, okay, well, maybe that's the way you're supposed to play it. But that's the thing, I started playing it my own way, and then I started enjoying the experience just in general more. For example, right now I've been playing Don't Starve Together by myself because I have no friends. But I've been playing Don't Starve Together by myself just so I can learn the mechanics and stuff of it as I go, so that I don't have to just drag anybody down, right? Also, that's our first geode. I guess I thought I had gotten a geode last episode because I had one in the chest, but I threw it away. I thought I had one before that. Anyway, we found a geode. The local blacksmith can break it open for you. Who knows, you may find hidden inside it. You can get those from rocks, you can get those from fishing. They have goodies inside. Again, I'll talk about that later. I'm still talking about Don't Starve. I know it may be a precedent that I'm talking about a different game while playing this game, but me personally, I just want to ensure that I finish a topic before I just jump to another one, so that way I don't lose people in the confusion. But yeah, as I said, I was playing Don't Starve Together by myself so that way I can learn the mechanics. I don't drag anyone down online just by playing with them, because I would feel bad if I did. And as I've been learning the mechanics, I've been realizing the way I want to play it is different from how most people would want to play it. Like, I really enjoy the aspects of just the basic survival and not, like, rushing bosses, and, like, having this specific way to play where, like, okay, well, this day is where you need to be getting, like, this and that. And me playing it the way I'm playing, I know is not efficient, but I just enjoyed playing it the way I do. And once I kind of just accepted that and stopped trying to play like how like the tips necessarily demanded. Oh, that's another trash item, but I'll actually keep that on me. And I'll read the description later because it's kind of funny. But it's interesting because it's like, okay, the tips they give are good. Like, it's not, I'm not saying like to ignore tips that people give you because it's like, oh, they're trying to help. I mean, that's the thing, is like where you're better at the game, right? And that's the thing, like some of the tips they have, it's not like those went to waste. It's just the way that sometimes those things can be interpreted. Whoa! Okay. That is a rare item. That is a fire quartz. Gunther can tell you more about this item if you donate to museum. I will not be donating that to Gunther, but I will keep that on me. That is really helpful, as you're going to see coming forward in the future. Anyway, Mumble, I would tell you about my thoughts, but it's a fisherman's secret. Okay. Anyway, to finish up the Don't Starve talk, basically what I'm saying is, tips are good, but don't take how you're watching someone else play or seeing someone else experience the game as the way that you need to play it in order to get good at the game, or just experience it the proper way. Take tips in the sense of, like, how I'm trying to give them is recommendations, but also as a way of, okay, here's my understanding of the game, helps, like, here's my understanding of the game, let me share it with you, so that way you can build your own understanding of said game as well. Like, I don't want you to just feed off of what I'm saying and have it be, okay, this is how I experienced Stardew Valley. It has to be the exact same, one for one, and that's all there is to it. That is not what I want it to be about, and that's not what it should be about. Also, we used our last piece of bait, so that sucks. We only had 10 though on us. I think we still have some back in our house and put in a chest, though, so we can just use that when we get back. Oh my gosh, it's a lot of seaweed. Yeah, the takeaway is, take the tips, and you can learn some things, and again, build off of what I'm giving you. Like, just have it be a part of it. Don't let it be, like, the foundation of how you view the game or how you play the game. Maybe if how you view the game in the sense of, if you've never seen someone play the game, then you can have it be like, oh, this is kind of a cool game, that's my view of it. But you get what I mean, right? I'm trying to say, don't build your gameplay experience off of Stardew Valley, or really of any game, based off tips, or even reviews. I think reviews, that's always an interesting topic, is that, you know, you hear people talking about, like, okay, like, especially recently, like, the Mario and Luigi Brothership, I know this is going to age the video eventually, but that just came out, like, a few weeks ago, probably by the time this is up, and people are flaming IGN because they gave a review talking about the game, and there were points where a lot of people kind of dumb. And me personally, I haven't gotten around to playing Brothership, just because, again, I've been busy with time, and also, you know, money. But, oh, that is frozen geodes. A blacksmith can break this open for you. That's similar to the normal geode, but a different variety. That's kind of interesting. Oh, frick. Oh, that could have been bad. I forgot about energy. Okay, this will be our last fish for the day. Just get the game late anyway in-game. But yeah, it's interesting because they're always like the people who review things that IGN's notorious for that with like their too much water from Ruby and Sapphire or whatever. But I think a big part of reviews is that they've kind of lost what I always thought was the point of them, which was to give somebody whether or not it is a game that they should buy, or whether or not it's a game that is worth someone's time and their money, right? Because that's always like what a review has been for like food, right? It's like, okay, this food's really good, love the atmosphere, love the people, this is worth going and spending your money at. It's always kind of been that, I thought. And so for games, it's really interesting to be like, oh, well, this game just has too much water, so I don't think it's worth spending money on. Or this game's humor was bad, which keep in mind, all that stuff is very subjective, like taste and anything is going to be bad. So reviews are kind of, just to begin with, going to be kind of off in terms of, like, it's based on opinions, right? And opinions, of course, aren't going to be shared by everyone, and that's fine. Like, I still enjoyed even doing reviews for, like, the Zelda game. But building reviews around this concept of, okay, here's things that I don't like, so that makes it bad, and it cannot be good because of this minor thing that I don't like, has always been kind of a, I threw something away I probably shouldn't have, whatever. It's always been a weird concept to me, because, okay, well, here's a game that has a lot of mechanics I either love or I'm just not the biggest fan of, and since I'm not the biggest fan of it, that means it is bad. It makes it a bad game, which is fine. Again, that's their opinion, but then also saying that other people shouldn't buy it because you personally didn't like it in those aspects is kind of weird to me. Simply because it's like, okay, well, look at it this way, right? The way I look at games like Silent Hill 2 when I did that remake was, from my review was, okay, here's a game that I really enjoyed. Here was my thoughts on it. Here are the reasons why I enjoyed it. And here were the types of people I think would enjoy it. And, you know, I was saying, okay, well, if here's the type of gameplay experience it is. I'm not going to sit here and say, okay, well, since there was this one part I didn't like I specifically didn't like how this chair was on the y-axis or something. That's just an example. You know, I'm not going to sit here and be like, okay, well, that specifically is going to make it so that other people shouldn't buy this game, because there's not going to be other people who would like this game. You know what I mean? It's really weird. It's kind of hard to describe, but I just think that it's sort of become a I wouldn't say negative talking point, but it's something that I'm not really happy with the current landscape of like how people review things. Anyway, and that's not to like call out any specific people like IGN. I just use that as an example because people will more likely know them. Level 4 fishing. +1 fishing rod proficiency, new crafting recipe recycling machine, new crafting recipe worm bin, and new crafting recipe deluxe bait. A lot of new stuff. Got to love those level ups, and we got a decent chunk of change. We definitely didn't make what we've spent on the bag upgrade and the fishing rod, but again, it's going to be one of those passive incomes. We spent around like almost 4,000 yesterday, probably. And we're making it back slowly but surely. We have 1,000 at least, which is not bad right now. Okay, crappy day tomorrow. And by crappy, I mean sunny. Again, you're going to have to get used to that. And bad luck, okay. We are not having good luck. Whoa! Hello there. Man, we're having people come to our house, and this time it makes sense because it's like sunny out. I mean, Clint came in the middle of the rain to give us a blueprint. Hello, Ryan. You see this dog here? Yes, I do. I picked him out when I was creating myself as God. Technically, but whatever. I found it sitting outside the entrance to your farm. I think it's a stray. Poor thing. Hey, it seems like this. Hey, it seems to like this. Hey, it seems to like this place. Hey, don't you think this farm could use a good dog? Will you adopt the dog? Yes. I believe if you say no, you actually just lose out on adopting the animal, which is really weird. Anyway, choosing a name for an animal. You can, of course, type whatever you want in, or you can use the randomize button to get a bunch of different ones, like Paw, G, Agillard, and a bunch of them. Snubello. Speaking of, one of the names... I'll share that story later, never mind. Anyway, yeah, you can name these whatever you want, and here's where I'm going to leave an opportunity to all of you. Going forward, there are animals you can rename, and there's going to be a bunch of course, farm animals and stuff. I'm going to be taking name suggestions that you guys give, and I'll just pick a few randomly, and of course, if there's ones that people like more, then I'll probably pick those as well. But for the dog specifically, since it's a name you cannot change, and I didn't mention this earlier because I didn't really think it prudent, I'm going to name this dog myself. And I'm going to name it E-L-L-A, Ella. There is a story attached to this name, and I'll mention it once we're done with this cutscene, because it's one I want to share, because I feel like it's sort of prudent to the name. Well, Ella, you'd be a good pooch now, okay? Also, the dog, I believe, is genderless. I always interpreted it more as male, just due to the deep bark, but that's just probably kind of my ignorance talking. Anyway. Oh, well, okay, well, I guess we'll talk about that later. First, let's check out the mail, and again, I'll put that story on the back burner. That is going to be something I say. To our valued Joja Mart customers, our team members have removed the landslide caused by our drilling operation near the mountain lake. I'd like to remind you that our drilling operation is entirely legal, pursuant to Int L61091. Jojico Amendment. Responsible stewardship of the local environment is our top priority. We apologize for any inconvenience this accident may have caused. As always, we value your continued support and patronage. Morris, Joja Customer Satisfaction Representative. So that boulder we saw back on day 1 that guy was hitting with the hammer has finally been cleared, so we can actually now go over there to the mountain lake, which is interesting. Maybe I'll check that out later today. But something more interesting happens today. Our parsnips are done growing. You can kind of tell just based on how they look. So if you go over to them, you press N or just hold A, you can see you pick them up. I don't believe it costs any stamina to do so, and we get a level up in farming. They give you, I believe, a little over enough for that, just for that level up. And I'm going to sell 14 and keep 1, again, for story-related reasons I'll mention later. Do we have a new mission on the journal? We do. We have a few. Okay, so getting started. Yeah, our first parsnip harvest, we can do that. Raising animals. Robin the little carpenter lives north in town. In exchange for fewer materials and money, she'll construct a building farm for you. You need her to build a coop or barn so you can raise animals, and then an advancement. As you gain experience, you'll discover new crafting recipes. Okay, yeah. Basically, we have 2 more achievements. Don't worry, I will go over the advancement one more, but I'll do that next episode, I think. Anyway, but this does tie in with why I didn't buy more crops, and I'll mention it next episode because I'm not going to plant anything in this episode either, but next episode we actually are going to finally buy crops, so don't worry. Anyway, I think it's prudent that I mention what I was going to earlier in terms of the story to Ella, or whatever the dog name. So, I have been on this channel doing trying to upload stuff for about a year now, close to, maybe actually over. I think it's over a year now. Because I think my first video I did was in October, I believe. And it was like an Animal Crossing one, of course. It was the 50 Dreams one or whatever, right? As I was doing that, unfortunately, one of my childhood dog that I grew up with, who was named Ella the cut short, unfortunately passed away. We put her down just because she was suffering from illness, and we didn't want her to suffer anymore. I'm just going to explain this really fast. I'm grabbing the bread. We're going to go into town right away, going from this way, because there's something down here to talk about. But yeah, she unfortunately passed away, and Ella was the first dog that I ever had in my house, growing up. My dad is not the biggest animal person, but he let us get one, and it was a golden retriever. Her name was Ella, and we really loved her. And it's pretty much as basic of a story as you can get, realistically. In terms of, it is a dog that I had in real life, and I'm honoring it by putting its name in here. So it's not like anything super duper special, but I felt like it was worth sharing because it kind of ties into the YouTube channel, and so the first episodes, or even this whole channel, is kind of built along a memorial of Ella to some degree, as ridiculous as that may sound to some. Anyway, that aside, we're going to come over here, because if you go down here on the left of Marnie's ranch, right over here, where this pond is, you are going to find this cart, but only on Fridays and Sundays. Keep that in mind. This cart is a traveling merchant. I've got a little bit of everything. Take a look. The traveling merchant will sell a bunch of random items, as you can see here, for generally probably ludicrous prices, like $1,000 for some melon seeds. You kidding me? Most of the stuff here is pretty much all of it is going to be overpriced compared to how much it is worth trying to get it normally. For example, $500 for a parsnip. You can spend 20 gold at freaking Pierre's, buy a seed, wait 4 days, and you have it. And it doesn't even sell for 100 normally, so she just, okay, whatever. Anyway, most of her stuff is an outright scam is what I'm getting at, but there is some stuff that is exclusive to her area, and some stuff that can help progression if you're willing to spend a little extra cash. And since she only comes 2 times a week, that being on Friday and Sunday, it can be worth checking out at least once, taking a gander, see what she has. If she has something of value, and consider purchasing it if you have the money to spare. I recommend checking out her store every time she's in, at least, because there is one item in particular that we're going to be looking for throughout the entire year from her, because she's really the only way to get it in our first year. But again, that stuff will come up later. So today, we are actually going to be doing something new other than fishing, even though I could just go fishing for more money, which definitely wouldn't be the wrong idea by any means. Don't you have work to do? Speaking of, I need to be getting better with gifts. I've been, I think, a little too much focused on progress. Hey, what's up, farmer guy? Figure out it's my day for doing push-ups. Every time I do a push-up, I try to do one more than last time. Pretty cool strategy, huh? That's, yeah, I think a pretty realistic strategy in terms of what some people try to do. Though I think it's more tuned to once a week, or they try to up it every other day. Ooh, acorn. Nice. Trash acorn. Not super nice, but we'll take it. Anyway, today we're going to be doing something a little different. We're not going to be fishing. And again, I am still using only some of the tools on us, just because I don't really like, again, even with 2 rows, I still feel like we'd have too much stuff on us, and we'd get kind of bloated and wouldn't be able to move around and stuff. In general, we're going to be deciding new today, as Jojiko gave us a letter describing, sorry about that, the mountain lake that the boulder was blocking the guy was hitting with the hammer has been cleared. I think we should go check out that today, and that will unlock a new mechanic. How's Jojo Mart holding up? Crappy. Got it. Okay. I think actually we could probably... Can we talk to Morris about his Jojo membership yet? Welcome, Jojo Mart. How are you doing today? I don't believe we... Oh, wait. Have we not talked to Morris? Oh, I thought we did. I don't believe we've met. I'm Morris, Jojo Customer Satisfaction Representative. When you decide you want to become a Jojo member, I'll be delighted to help make your transition to a joyous experience. Welcome, Jojo Mart. How are you doing today? We're currently in the process of setting up a brand new membership system for our customers. Please check back sometime soon. Okay, I thought we talked to Morris, but I guess we didn't. So yeah, he's the like representative manager of this particular Jojo Mart. Jojo Mart's kind of like a bit of a play on places like Walmart, in terms of them being like a huge corporation that's just in the middle of this small town that feels sort of out of place, but then has a chokehold on everything else. That's what Jojiko is. That's also why we had like the Jojiko and stuff. Anyway, jumping over here, you have this little exclamation mark on the board, and if you check it out, you will see our first quest. Help wanted. Need seaweed on skewer, or to skewer on a shish kebab. Elliot. 60 gold on delivery. Elliot will be thankful. Yeah, quests will appear there every now and then, and generally it's going to be somebody asking you to give them something, or it's going to be something related to fishing, or a few other small things it can be. If you are able to fill the request, you almost always gain friendship with somebody, and you'll always gain money. This wasn't always super great, because sometimes, like, this 60 gold isn't much, but being like, Elliot is a bachelor, so again, if you want to get with him, this would be really useful. But there's a few other reasons to do it, too, especially now thanks to the newest update. Unfortunately, Elliot is kind of a pain to get him out of his house, and I think he's gonna probably be there most of the day. Unfortunately, Elliot's not a character I'm not super familiar with in terms of his schedule. Okay, we have a cutscene here. But yeah, I'm not super familiar with Elliot, so we're gonna have to deal with that in a moment, but we're gonna check out this first. Also, I gotta move my cursor out of the way. Unfortunately, it keeps appearing up there every time a new cutscene comes in. Oh, hi there. What an eyesore. This is the Pelican Town Community Center, or what's left of it anyway. It used to be the pride and joy of the town, always bustling with activity. Now, just look at it. It's shameful. These days, the young folk would rather sit in front of a TV than engage with the community. But listen to me, I sound like an old fool. Jojo Corporation has been hounding me to sell them the land so they can turn it into a warehouse. Pelican Town could use the money, but there's something stopping me from selling it. I guess old-timers like me get attached to the relics of the past. Oh well. If anyone else buys a Jojiko membership, I'm just gonna go ahead and sell it. Here, let's go inside. What's this? I guess Vincent and Jasper are playing in here. This place is even more dilapidated than I remember. What? What's the matter? Are you ill? You saw something. I wouldn't be surprised if this place was full of rats. You're worrying me, Ryan. Just like my parents. Look, I think I'm gonna head home. I need some lunch. Hey, I'll keep this place unlocked from now on. Maybe you can help catch that rat if you have some extra time. Strange. I'll have to come back and explore this building further. Why don't we do that right now? So yeah, we just learned quite a bit. This was the old community, like, center. Apparently it used to look a lot better than this. And now Jojoko's trying to buy it out for a warehouse, which apparently the town could use. Oh, there's another one of those things. And now apparently we're tripping on some sort of acid because we're seeing things. Also, what is this shiny thing? We're definitely tripping on some sort of acid because this is not normal. So we have like winding hieroglyphs here. Yeah, no, there's no making sense of that. Okay, well... we could, like, look around, but you can see there's, like, this little hut here that the kids are playing in, and now we have these little, like, apple-looking things. There's really nothing for us to see outside of that little, like, panel we saw on the ground. So, yeah, we learned that apparently if one more person buys a Jojoko membership, even though he may be exaggerating, he's just gonna up and sell it, so... I don't know. It definitely is kind of, like, sad if you ever lived in a smaller community to see some parts of it get taken over into bigger corporations, just because that's how it works. Yeah, I was doing my nightly runs and noticed that your first parsnip is ready. Congratulations. Why are you keeping... Oh, I guess you are the one who empties my... please don't see this. Oh, I already opened it. I guess he is the one who, technically goes to, like, the, shipping bin, right? He's the guy who actually picks up the stuff to sell it to people. So, never mind. But still... but yeah, Elliot's gonna be a pain. Yeah, I think he stays in there almost all day. I do not know Elliot's goddamn freaking... I don't know where he goes at what time. I know he comes down the bridge and just stands there. Oh, great, stone. I know he just comes down the bridge and stands there on some days, but I know he doesn't do that all the time. I think what I'm gonna do is we're gonna not worry about it today too much. I'm gonna keep it on me just in case. But I'd rather go up and look, like, at the thing that's up near the north. Even though we don't have the best of luck today, which does play into what we're about to do, but that's besides the point. Okay, Caroline. It's a fine-looking day. On days like this, I like to help Evelyn with the public gardens. She's strong for her age, but I think she appreciates all the help she can get. I'm sure she does. I mean, it's really nice to try to help out people, especially, unfortunately, older people who, you know, they're suffering through usually illness and other problems that aren't fun that, unfortunately, most of us are going to have to deal with in our life. So yeah, we're going to head up here to the north. We haven't gone up here much. Oh, sorry for saying all the time. That is something I'm trying to kick. Frick, I did it again. Going up here north, we haven't been up here much, which is my fault, but mostly just because there hasn't been too much reason to. Oh, hey, leaks. I mean, that's kind of the nice thing that there's a bunch of stuff here. Hey, Linus, I haven't talked to you much. Please don't destroy my tent. It's happened before. I mean, he is a homeless guy, but you still can feel bad for him. I mean, unlike most homeless people who just kind of choose to sit on a, you know, sidewalk next to a restaurant or something and beg for money, at least these one, like, you know, he's kind of out of his way. It is curious, though, how he's just living in... I mean, he's got a nice tent and stuff, but it's kind of interesting that he's just living here. I feel like, you know, it is a smaller town, but there's probably some, like, place you could go. But anyway, this bridge that was once covered, we can now go over to. Because, keep in mind, there was a rock here this guy was hitting. You can see there's, like, a little, like, entrance to, like, what seems to be, like, a cave there. Oh, we have a building over here. What's in here? Adventurers Guild. Proven adventurers only. Okay, well, I guess we're not an adventurer. There is some more here to the right, but how about we go check over this mine area, or cave? I was just peering down into this old mine shaft. Been abandoned for decades. Still, there's probably good ore down there. A dark place, undisturbed for so long. Afraid ore isn't the only thing you'll find. Here, take this. You might need it. You received a rusty sword. Name's Marlin, by the way. I run the Adventurers Guild right outside. I'll keep my eye on you. Prove yourself, and I might think about making you a member. So we just met another new person who is not on our social tab, because again, similar to the guy... I can't remember his name. Gunther or whatever, the guy who's at the museum. Can't befriend him, but he is technically part of the village. Here is an old abandoned mine. Doesn't seem to be working, so there's like an elevator back here. There's a minecart here, out of service. But we did just get a new tool, a sword. The rusty sword, a rusty dull old sword. Level 1 sword, 2 to 5 damage. Okay, we'll put that over there. Because there is combat in this game, which we're going to get into soon enough. But let's head down here, because we get introduced to another big mechanic of the game, the mine. The mine is kind of like a dungeon crawler to a degree. You go in here, and there's going to be different floors you go to, and your main goal is to find a ladder that leads to the floor under you, so the next floor, if you will. And your goal is to find these ladders. You can see it's right there. Usually they're under rocks, but you can also find them from other things too, which I'll explain when that comes up. But your main goal is to get lower and lower down, because the further and further down you go, the better and better loot you can get, including ore and stuff, as the guy said. Oh, hello there. So these are enemies. There's a slime there, and there's like a bug up to the right you can see flying around, because there is combat in this game. It is very simple and oh, nice. There's one of the ways the ladder can appear is from killing stuff, as you just saw. But anyway, the combat is very simple. It is nothing like the fishing in the sense that I feel like it's going to take you hours and hours to master. But also, I don't feel like you need to master by any means. Also, there's our first copper vein. You can find those down here. You can tell they're copper because they have little like orange bits sticking out. Ooh, those got 2 topaz too. A lot of stuff's happening if you couldn't tell. A lot of stuff comes out at once, so I'll try to keep this organized. But yeah. How the combat works is that you press the same button you used to use your tool and it'll swing the weapon. Oop, there's an enemy there. That's a good time to show it. And you can see you will hit it, it does damage, it'll hit it back, though most of them don't take too much knockback, so you'll have to be careful because they can run into you. When you get hit, you take damage. You can see next to energy bar is a health bar. If that hits all the way down, you technically pass out. Again, I'll mention the consequences of that later. But essentially how it works is you're encouraged to avoid fights when you can, but they also drop goodies. And again, you just swing the sword. There's no like complicated dodge roll. The only other thing you can do is there's a button you can use for special. For swords, it's block. But there are other types of weapons that have different types of specials. The block makes it so that you don't take damage. I believe it makes the enemy take a little bit of damage and knocks them back. But you can only do it every now and then. So when I block, you'll notice there's like a red box that appears on the sword. That's a cooldown. I can't just spam the block. I have to wait for that to go all the way down before I block again. The combat is not that complicated. It's pretty much swing as many times as you can on the enemy, don't let it hit you, and hopefully take it out. It's pretty simple. The rest of these sword isn't great, but it'll do. Ooh, nice. But it'll do for now. I am going to come over here. Normally when I see a ladder, even if there's like stuff here to still check, I would actually just go down it because I want to get as far down as I can in a day. Just because you get better loot. Also nice. The guide drip slime. But I want to grab that earth crystal there, which is another thing you can find. Finding a lot of goodies. There's things like topaz, quartz, earth crystals, a bunch of minerals. Which have their own uses, but a lot of them will just say Gunther can tell you more about it because it's encouraging you to donate it. This is why I recommend trying to get down as far as you can in a day. Every 5 floors, you are going to get into a room that has an elevator in it. The elevator allows you to go from any of the floor's elevators to another one. So for example, right now we're on floor 5. Any day we come back now, we can come down to floor 5 since I've unlocked the elevator to this floor. So you have a permanent way of getting down to further levels, and you don't have to start from floor 1 every single time. Which is why I said, I usually, when I see a ladder, I'm taking damage. When I see a ladder, I'll almost immediately just go down, because I'd rather just take the advantage of, there's a lot of stuff that's happening. I'd rather just take the advantage of having gotten further down in a day. A bunch more goodies. You have things like hardwood, which is a special kind of wood with superior strength and beauty. Amethyst, another mineral, and we got even carrot seeds. Planted in spring, takes 3 days to grow. Those are new to the most recent update, in case you haven't played since the newest update. But yeah, as you can see, a lot of stuff is related to the mines. And get used to the mines, because let me tell you, this is pretty much going to replace fishing for a little bit. Not in the sense that we're making money from this, at least not a ton. But I'm going to be mining a lot in spring in our first year, just in general. Ooh, hello there. For a few different reasons, but again, I'll explain stuff as we go. Because I keep saying that, but just because, again, I don't want to overwhelm people more so than I feel like I already am. Because it's just like, oh, now we have this new mechanic of combat and stuff, and I just was being talked about the complicated fishing. What I will say is that when it comes to the major mechanics of the game, we're getting close to seeing like all the fundamental like basics, like the foundation of stuff you need to learn. And they do that, they try to like trickle feed you the rest of the stuff, but they give you a lot of like the base mechanics right away. So that we have time to learn them, grasp them, and then when they get harder, you'll actually kind of know what they are. But also because they want to make sure you have as many options as possible. And I say they, but the guy who made this game. He wants to make sure you have as many options possible in terms of stuff you can do at the beginning. Because it's like, okay, well, the first few days really, like the first day is all about meeting people. And you can be farming during that time. Day 2, it teaches you fishing, so we can be doing that the next few days. Day 5 is when the mines clears up, and then you can get to the mines, and so on and so forth. And so it tries to keep these in sort of a timeline, if you will. Like, they try to make sure, okay, so this specific day is for this and that and whatnot. Something worth mentioning is, yeah, the time's still going in the mines. It's not like it stops time, which, of course, some games do stop time when you're in a dungeon. Kind of like Persona in that sense, where, like... I mean, that's not a direct timer. That's just a time limit based on certain actions you do anyway. So you do have to watch the time, and again, keep in mind, we have to walk all the way back. So we'll want to make sure we keep it on the time when we leave a little bit earlier. If you are in the mine, I mentioned most of the time, if you leave by like 12 towards your house, I did not mean to use the hoe on that rock. You're probably going to be fine. And I still hold true that. I think if you are in general going to be in pretty much anywhere in the valley, you can leave, start heading home at 12, and you should be back around 1-ish. And that's like at the latest you should be out, right? I'd recommend, especially for people who are uncomfortable with the game, like in terms of the time limit and stuff. And that definitely would work. But if you are in the mine, I'd actually recommend trying to head home by like 11, sometimes even 10:30 if you can, unless you're really trying to like push like you're one floor away from the next elevator or something. Just because the mine is actually a little bit further away than some of the other areas, and it's in general not really worth usually risking that. I mean, I'm gonna try to get to floor 10 if we can. Since I'm talking stuff, I'm taking stuff a little slower, and also we just have a bad luck day. In general, I'm probably not gonna get down to like floor 15, though I have on multiple occasions gone down to like floor 15, even sometimes 20 on really good luck days. On my first day in the mines. Again, that isn't like the biggest deal. Also, there is that, but I'm not gonna go to floor 15. I already know I'm not. I just know it's not how it's gonna work. So I'm just gonna take my time and grab some of these things here, like that amethyst. I'll take that. Ow. Also, right there, we just got a effect, but I'll mention that stuff later. Again, I'm not trying to overwhelm you guys by any means. Also, there's another ladder there. We had one already spawned in. I'm going to kill the bugs at least because they drop bug meat, which is actually useful for something that I'll show again later. I know I have to keep saying again later and stuff. Anyway, every 10 levels, I mentioned every 5 you get an elevator, every 10 you get a treasure floor, or a room that is completely empty except for a treasure chest in the middle. Opening it up will get you some goodies. We received some leather boots. Leather boots are interesting because, if we go over to them, the leather is very supple. You can see it gives +1 defense, +1 immunity. Now, to get these bonuses, you don't just have to have them in your inventory, you have to equip them. Going over to this red inventory tab, the one that looks like a backpack, you'll see these 3 things, 2 look like rings and one that looks like shoes next to your farmer down here in the bottom left. You can pick up boots, place them there, and there you go, you get the bonuses. Now we have 1+ defense, 1+ immunity. Defense is exactly what you think it does. It makes it so that you take less damage from enemies. Immunity ties into what I mentioned with the effect we got from getting hit by that slime. Some enemies will give you an effect if they hit you with certain moves or if they just hit you in general. Slimes can do a effect that's called Slimed, which makes you slow, essentially inescapable of moving for a little bit, which can make you very easy prey for most enemies, especially Slimes, since they'll just dogpile on you. So you'll want to be careful about that. But when it comes to immunity, it makes it so, it makes it so that is less common and is harder for it to happen. Doesn't make it like impossible, but it just makes it harder to happen. This green haze means that we're about to get swarmed by a bunch of enemies, like these flying-looking fricks. This is where the block is really helpful, just trying to keep them off you. Best you can. Again, that's stuff I'll mention. I'm trying to keep it off. If this happens to you before I mentioned it, and you're playing along, just try to keep them back with your block and stuff. If you're in a floor that does not have an easily accessible ladder, then just, I'd say go up and leave. Speaking of, we could maybe get to floor 15, but I'd be pushing it, and we'd probably pass out. We'll see. It depends on how well this floor goes. If this floor goes really... Okay, well... I guess it really depends on this one, technically, because then we'd be seeing if we can get to floor 15, I guess. But I really doubt we will. We'll try, though. We are going to try our very best if we can. Our best bet would probably be if we kill a slime and it just drops one. Please. Dang it. But yeah, there's no rush of getting to the bottom of the lines. The lines, yeah, Ryan. Getting to the bottom of the mines by any means. Oh, frick, okay, yeah, so we just got slime. That's what that green effect is on our character, and if you look on the top right, there's like a little box with an image in it. That's also showing that, hey, you got oozed. And so you're being affected by something. Ow. Okay, frick. Yeah, we're just gonna head back. It sucks, but at this point, we're already gonna be pushing it in terms of if we can get back in time before passing out, so... Yeah, that sucks, but hey, it's fine. We got loot from it, and that's what matters. You can see we have our inventories completely full of stuff. A lot of it is just new things. A lot of it's minerals that we can donate to Gunther, and these ones I'm more willing to donate than the fire quartz we got last time for specific reasons. We also got some cool things like bug meat. We got some copper ore, 37. We got some coal. In general, mines is not the best way for making money, even though there's things like minerals, which you can sell, and they make okay money. But if you're really going for money, I'd recommend just learning the fishing stuff. Mining's definitely more for minerals and materials and for some other stuff, as you'll see as we go. Though there is some money you can make from it, for sure. Just, I definitely don't think that's the main appeal. Since we're playing alone, I'm actually going to take some time to put this stuff away now instead of just keeping it on me, because I don't really feel like starting up next episode by having to go through my inventory right away. Never mind, it looks like I'm going to be doing that anyway because my inventory is full of placing stuff in. Oh, there's the dog I mentioned. We can actually pet it by pressing A when we're near it. Also, what are you doing, Ellie? Your butt's like on the bed and you're... Actually, you know what? That's pretty common for my dogs in my house. That's what they do. They have their face on the floor, like they'll sleep on the stairs. They'll have their face down on one of the steps and they'll have their butt on the step above. And so it looks really uncomfortable, but for some reason they find it comfortable. Level 1 farming, watering can proficiency and hoe proficiency. New crafting recipe, scarecrow. New crafting recipe, basic fertilizer. Cool. And level 1 mining. 1 pickaxe proficiency, new crafting recipe, cherry bomb. Don't think we got one in combat, yeah, because we didn't really kill that much today. Because I spent too much time waiting for Elliot, which sucks. As you can see, parsnips don't make much money. They are, as I said, kind of like the turnips from Harvest Moon if you play those games. They are very quick to harvest, they're very cheap, but they're not worth that much in return. So it's not the best crop by any means. But they can still make you a little bit of cash on the side. They're definitely still nice to have. Anyway, with that being said, been another eventful few days. We met Marlin, who is not on our social tab, but we got introduced to the mines. We have a sword, which is not dangerous at all, and we're getting a bunch of goodies. We're becoming more and more acquainted with Stardew Valley, and we're learning more about this strange place. Next time, we're going to be exploring deeper in the mines, catching more fish, meeting more people. Pretty much the same old, but just even more to see. Stardew Valley is really starting to liven up, and we're starting to get a little more accustomed to this place. I hope to see you all there.